Hello, and welcome to another edition of Cryptic. Today we've been asked to take a look at the first puzzle from the grand final of the 2017 Times Sudoku Championship. So I've got that on the screen now, and I'm going to have a look at it. Not seen this before, don't know how nasty it is. So what I'm going to do first is put in some notations we've been discussing using the Tom Snyder method, and we'll see what we can see. Okay, and the first thing I've noticed I've started to put numbers in the grid is we have this 1-4 combination in the central box. So I'd certainly be immediately trying to use that in the central column to see whether or not there's any restriction. And although there are some limited possibilities and some different notational styles might help, I'm not seeing any immediate way of making progress from that. So we're going to have to look harder. So one of the things I'm thinking about now is whether there are any boxes. We don't have. Right, sorry, let me be a bit more eloquent about this. There aren't any rows or columns with a particularly large number of digits in, apart from the central column now. So now I'm looking at boxes, and I'm trying to see whether any boxes, I'm actually looking at the boxes with four numbers in them, whether any of these boxes have any cells that are extremely restricted. So you can see over here, for example, that this box here has a 7-4-5-9 in it and a 1-2 over here. So these two cells, especially this cell, is going to be quite restricted. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so in fact I think this cell can only be a 3. Yeah, I think that's right. So let's put that in. I'm not sure it's going to help much, but let's put that in. In fact, I just noticed a mistake in this box as well. But we've got 5 and a 5 here in columns 8 and 9, so this obviously can't be a 5. So I need to remove 5 here. This is the 5. Let's see if that helps us. 5, 5. Yeah, and this is pretty horrible actually, because it doesn't really suit notation. It just suits a style that is very good at scanning rows and columns to identify single numbers. So you can see if we've now got the 5th digit in this box, this 3x3 box here. So we know we need to put a 3, 4, 7 and 8 in this box, and you go across here, you can see there's already a 3, 4, and in fact there's an 8 as well. So this can only be a 7. So we should put that in. But no notation is really going to help you to grab that number. It's really just a case of, I suppose, practice. And I'm immediately scanning this column now, and I'm thinking I need to put 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can see I'm going to be able to place a 2 here. But anyway, we can put a 7 here, so let's just do that, just to be consistent. So now let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this has to be 2. Let's put the 2 in. Is that going to help with anything? Not really. So we've still got 1, 3, 4 to place. Can't see anything immediately. One thing I will mention as a technique that I do in this sort of situation is I know I need 1, 3, 4 in these 3 cells. And I see a 4 here. So I now know there's either a 4 here or a 4 here. So mentally only, I test a 4 here. I imagine there's a 4 here, yeah? Because I can see there's a 4 here, and I can see this is forced to be a 4 here. Now imagine this 4 had actually been here. I'd have been able to rule this out as a possibility. And there's a touch of trial and error about it, but it's something you get into the practice of doing. The more of these puzzles you do, and the more, when you're trying to do them at speed. The other thing I'd note while I'm doing this is that I think we're lucky enough that the actual winner of the Times Sudoku Championship this year is a subscriber to the vlog, so I'm sure if I miss anything he'll be, that's Tom Collier. To the extent he's not currently in Bangalore solving for the UK, I'm sure he'll give his opinion on how to solve this puzzle more quickly. Next two things I've noticed. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 in row 8, so I need a 5, 6, 7, 9. Now I've got a 6 here, so I tested the 6 very quickly mentally again in either of these two positions just to see whether that would eliminate anything, and it didn't. So then I started to look at this box again. Again, only because I have a lot in it, and because the 6 and the 8 here, I just feel like these are attractive because they're eliminating lots of possibilities for this cell. So I can see here we need to put a 1, 2, 6, 8 in. So I can see that this cell here has only the possibility of a 1 and a 2, which I'm sure everyone can see as well. And I noticed, whether by hook or by crook, but the 4, 7, 9 here are limiting this, and there was a 4, 7, 9 in row 2 as well. Oh, sugar, I didn't mean to do that. God knows what that means. Let's see how we can get rid of it. So it should be obvious, and it's not going to work with Tom Snyder's notation, just to make it clear. This is something you just have to notice through experience, that you've got a 1, 2 here and a 1, 2 here. So David McNeil, who's another superb solver, he would pick this up naturally. Here I got lucky by seeing it, well, let's see if it helps. So we've got 4, 7, 9 to place in the column, so in fact it's not going to give us anything immediate. Yeah, this is not easy. Okay. So I've now been reduced to starting to look at rows and columns that contain 4 numbers, just to see if there's anything interesting we can see. This column looks interesting, 6th column, because we need to place 2, 3, 6, 8, 9 in this column. But we have a 2 and a 3 in this box, which is nice. So this means that this is 6, 8, 9, this is 6, 8, 9. And we have a 2, 3 as well in the central row. So this is 6, 8, 9. In some order, you don't know which. So this is 2, 3, and this is 2, 3. Now, does that allow us to make progress? 2, 3. We might do in this row. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8 with a 5, 6, 8, 1. Yeah. 2, 3, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. So that is maybe going to give us a number. Wow. This is not easy. So in row 2, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8 we need to place, but we've got 2 cells already, which are very, very limited by the work we've done so far. And let's just take a look at these 2 cells, because we've got this 5, 8 here, which is nice, which effectively means these cells can only be a choice of 4 numbers. So we've got to place 1, 2, 3, 6. Well, you can see that this number can only be 1, 3. And that's awesome, because now we have in row 2 3 cells with only 3 possibilities. So now we know that this cell has to be 5, 6 or 8. Well, it can't be 5 or 8, so this cell has to be a 6. But that is brutal. That is really very hard to spot, and that's going to give us a 6 there. Oh, now probably this is now going to break. It's going to collapse. You can see how immediately we were able to fill in a load of stuff. from that. This has got to be 5 feet now. Definitely record that. Maybe this is 8, 9. Oh, now there we go. So now this is a 9 and this is a 5. Because of the sort of hybrid notation we've been using, this is forced to be a 6, which is the only thing I think that's possible in this cell. No, which means this is a 6, which means this is an 8. I think it's yeah, it looks like it's collapsing finally, but absolutely horrible. This was very, very unpleasant to find a way into. I'm quite relieved I wasn't doing this in competition actually, because I think by far the quickest way of getting this out would have been to guess. Just to talk for a moment about that, well, you know, while we're on the subject of competition solving of these puzzles, I mean, guessing is absolutely standard. You know, Mark, who's obviously my fellow vlogger on the site, you know, that is his standard technique. He obviously gets the obvious ones and then he guesses, switches to pencil. He's very fast at sort of working through the guess. If it doesn't work, rubs it out, guesses the other alternative. And with that method, you can actually get most of these puzzles out relatively quickly. Sorry, that's not a 5, it's an 8. This is a 3, I think. So, you know, in terms of the way to approach this from a competition point of view, it's absolutely accepted that it's often the quickest way. And finding the logic, which is what we're attempting to do on this in this series of vlogs, it's almost certainly not going to be optimal in terms of you know, just getting an answer out. And in fact, it was always sort of one of the problems I had when I was in the UK team at the World Sudoku Championship, is that, you know, I was never quick enough to resort to guessing. I always wanted to try and find a logical way through, and that's just yeah, that's not what you should be doing. Let's see here, that's got to be a 4. Or, yeah, and the puzzles now solved in terms of, you know, we've done the tricky part, so I'll do the rest to music. But thanks very much for the question on this puzzle. It's certainly interesting. I think it was one of these clear puzzles that shows the limitations of the notation method that we've been sort of advocating on the site, which is, you know, it's a simple notation method, but it's not going to be ubiquitous and work for all puzzles and always give you the right information. Here we had to use a bit of David McNeil's method, and we had to use a bit of, you know, just sort of our sense for the numbers, and for cells and boxes that had you know, through a combination of rows, columns and other numbers in the box, limiting the number of possibilities for cells. So very difficult, very interesting puzzle, and we'll see you again next time on Cracking the Cryptic.